Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, Main Lube Lubricants, and your local Repco store.
Hey Fletch, go fetch another classic resto. One with sparkling paint and chrome all full of shine. Hey Fletch, go fetch another classic resto. And show me what I wish was really mine.
G'day and welcome to another exciting episode of Classic Restos. Of course not possible without the continued support of the fantastic people of Shannons Insurance, Main Lube Lubricants and your local Repco store across Australia and New Zealand. In fact, Shannons have a sensational website. There's always something going on there and it is very comprehensive. In fact, while you're there, you can also sign up and become a member of the Shannons Club. Check out Shannons at shannons.com.au. Then of course there's Main Lube Lubricants. Send away an oil sample from either your engine, transmission or diff and you'll receive a full analysis report from their laboratory. You can pick up the phone and speak to one of their engineers. Check them out. mainlube.com.au, and of course your local Repco store. As soon as you walk through the door, you'll notice experience behind the counter as it awaits you. You'll have access to an inventory of over $50 million worth of more parts for more cars, whether you're a trade customer or a retail customer as well. Check out Repco when you get a chance. Stores scattered across Australia and New Zealand, and online too at repco.com.au or repco.co.nz. On today's show, I thought I'd bring you something different, something that works hand in hand when out and about cruising in our classic cars or riding our classic bikes. As you know, when we are out and about, we always look for somewhere to eat, and isn't it a bonus when we find somewhere to eat that's extra cool? Now it goes without saying, there's nothing like an authentic diner, and not long ago I found this place. Now it's at Aireys Inlet on the Great Ocean Road in Victoria, Australia. Whether you're travelling on your own or as part of a group, this, my friends, is happy days relived. Come with me. I know you want to. Come on. We can talk diner stuff together. The traditional diners started in the United States of America ages ago, but it depicts a lifestyle and a trend that has spread all over the world. As Australians, we've always enjoyed our milk bars and cafes, making a hamburger disappear and of course enjoying the classic milkshake. But diners stand for so much more. They give you more, and after you enjoy your delicious hard-earned food, if there's memorabilia on display, or better still, some classic vehicles, well, you better tell your neighbours you're going to be late home. But how cool is it to dine in a booth, have a drink in a can, or have one right here, listen to music through a mono speaker in a jukebox, and to be honest, just to forget about whatever is on your mind and just kick back. As soon as you walk through the door, the first thing you see is this 1950s, 1960s booth seating. Have a look at it. The ambience here and the atmosphere is amazing. What's a diner without a malted milkshake? Or a beautiful coffee or a tea? It's all done over there. Homemade cakes, there's hot dogs. This is what the diner experience is all about. And not only does it happen in here, this particular establishment goes down the back and it goes upstairs as well. But before you do that, you've got to have something first by Anna, the barista that works here at this particular diner.
Fletch, you can't come into a diner without trying a malted milkshake, a spider, by me of course.
You know, finding diners could almost be a pastime. How nice is this? Walking out of the front door of the malt shop and then down the driveway to the other end of the building where a private car collection awaits us. How cool is it to sit in the malt shop looking through glass at the car collection? It's fishbowled, it's showcased. Let's go down and have a closer look. Oh, look at this. Isn't this amazing? First thing I noticed too, this is a nice touch. Even disabled people are welcome here and they are catered for. There's an elevator behind me to take you up to the first floor. How neat is that? One thing you've got to like doing here, and that's opening doors. And boy, this is the classic car garage in here. You're greeted by a Model T Ford. The toilets are even in theme. And behind me, we've even got Jake and Elwood. Into toilet number 1 now. Have a look at this. There's even a baby change table behind the door as well. This is the room where hanging onto your pipe takes on a new meaning. Have a go at the handrail around the wall. Look at that, instead of extractor pipes. Oh, gee, if that ain't enough to make you flushed, nothing will. With me now, the man we blame, Paul Freestone. Welcome to today's show, Paul.
Well, welcome to you, Fletch, and thanks for coming down the Great Ocean Road.
That's all right, mate. More than welcome. But before we get the interview started, I have to comment on the great dental work you've got.
Well, I'd like to compliment you on your hair. I haven't had hair like that since I was 12.
I tell you what, eh? Paul, this is amazing. I thought I'd dedicate, I guess, an episode of Classic Restos to create some diner awareness. And sure, we've had a lot on the show from the United States of America, but it's wonderful to see diners here in this country.
Well, yeah, I think, of course, we did have them in the 50s and 60s in Melbourne. It was a legacy, I think, after the Second World War. And a diner really is a meeting place. I think that's what it is. It's affordable food, an experience on what it is to eat in that era. And, of course, it's got to be family-friendly as well. And being on the Great Ocean Road, we've been down here since our kids were nippers. And we've always wondered why no one's ever done anything car-themed, diner-themed, on arguably one of the best roads in the world.
This can be certainly an extension of your own persona. Yourself and wife Christine, the thoughts that you've had in here, you've been to the United States many times over the years. I guess this is just a beautiful way to get those thoughts out, put them into practicality, and it's just a wonderful environment. I mean, car clubs are invited here. People on bikes are invited here. Anyone off the street's invited here. It's really like, well, it's an extension of your own home.
Well, it is, and thanks, Fletch, for saying that. We're car enthusiasts. You know, we love hot rods, we love cruisers, we love rat rods. Chris and I can't think of nothing better than jumping on one of the rides and going to the Torquay car show or the Colac car show or wherever, Queenscliff as well. And as much we still love racing and rallying. It's a big part of our life and has been an enormous part of our life. Comfortable around like-minded people. Doesn't matter if you're a racer or a hot rodder.
Or just a bum that does a TV show.
Well, even Fletch, yes. But it's put it together and for people to enjoy it and come down and make the drive to come down. And when people come down, especially when they walk upstairs in the diner and they go, oh, this is quite extraordinary. And one of the reasons we chose the property is the view out the back on the Pankalack River. Because we're on the first floor and there is a lift there for ladies with prams and for disabled kids and all that sort of stuff. The view, and it's north facing, so being on the Great Ocean Road, we're not bothered by the southerly winds, which is important. Around, like there's cars at the moment which are up in Melbourne. The Camaro we race in, Touring Car Masters, is prepared by Dick Savvy at the moment. That's in town. The early model Holden, the 48, which is now weeks away from going to Targa again for our 18th Targa, which is, boy, it's almost half our life together been bashing around the back streets of Tasmania, or the back roads of Tassie. And I guess through all those trips to America on business with the transport company, we met, again, a lot of like-minded people, and you just feel comfortable in that environment. I mean, the car enthusiast, the racer, the hot rodder, great bunch of people, and we're glad to be able to create something where they can come down and enjoy it.
You're watching Classic Restos thanks to Shannons Insurance, Main Lube Lubricants and your local Repco store. With me now, Paul Freestone. Paul, what I love about what you've done here, everything tells a story. You've got the place in incredible theme, but it tells a story. You've got brickwork here from Ash Wednesday, photos on the wall from your own family. Like, it is a big home.
Yeah, thanks. The bricks are from Jumbunna, which was Dame Joan Hammond's property, unfortunately burnt down in Ash Wednesday. The boys cleaned all the bricks up and built this factory, which became the surf shop. Yeah, I guess one of Christine's delights been to do the collage of pictures of her father, my father, other people's fathers involved in life and a journey. Chris's dad's 54 Holden with boxes from the roof to the boot, delivering lampshades in Melbourne. I'd like to see Vic Rhodes have a look at that one today. And Jumbunna is Aboriginal for place of many stories. Now, as we all get older, we talk more and always remember how good we once were. So I think it's very apt that we can put all this together and everything tells a story. Every car here actually has its own story, from Billy Thorpe's D before Aston Martin.
Before we go to the cars, I know you've touched on the first floor diner that continues through the back there. Let's go down and let's check out a bit more of that, eh, Paul?
Okay, why not? Let's go, Fletch.
All right. Hey, check this. It just gets better and better. Hey, look up. Look. look up better in the dictionary. You see a picture of this bloke.
Thanks, mate. Let's go.
How good is it here? Up the stairs to the first level. The diner just continues. This is just awesome, Paul.
Thanks, Fletch. It's one of the biggest jobs we had in building it. It had a very low roof, so we've raised the roof about 3 feet. And the bit we're sitting on, we affectionately call it the deck, overlooking the river. You've got the swans, got the parrots, all that sort of good stuff. It's got a great ambience, and it's pretty strong southerly today, and we're north facing, so we don't notice it that much. And I guess that's just got to go with the whole program. And no, we're very, very happy with it.
That's good. Well, from a managerial standpoint, are you involved all that much, or you just like to sit back and just enjoy the ride at the moment?
Well, we are. Chris and I have been working 7 days a week for a long time now to make sure it's right. Trying to get the right team, crew, management. We've got one of our accountants from work down here 2 or 3 days a week helping us out. We've got our road transport manager's here. He's been here for the last 2 months, working with the people, getting it to where we understand it. I mean, being in hospitality is, in a lot of ways, is no different than road transport. You're a service industry. You're only as good as your last job, and you're only as good as the people that you have working for you.
Do you reckon the trend of where we're going with our classic car fraternity, that there's going to be more and more diners starting to appear? I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, Australia's a big place. I mean, there's plenty of room. Can we have too many of these places, do you reckon?
I don't think so. I think, as we said before, it's like-minded people. You know, when you go to places and you had to be a race meeting or a hot rod show or whatever, you feel comfortable in the environment. You feel comfortable with the people that you're talking with.
Car collection downstairs, a private collection. It's not open to the general public just willy-nilly, is it? I mean, they can see it through the glass, but in terms of walking around them, it's just for invitation purposes only. So I think we should go and have a better look at that. What do you reckon, Paul?
Let's do it. Let's go, Fletch.
We're down in the basement. Well, ground floor, private car collection. Let's start off with Freddie here. Why it's called Freddie?
Well, Freddie was brought in 1941 by John Adams and his brother. He was a chemist from Malvern. We were very fortunate to get the car in its present condition about 35 years ago. It's our first ever car that we never had as a daily drive, and get the car from Malvern. He was a chemist from that area. He only drove the car to work on a Sunday. It's got a wolf whistle fitted to it.
Got to him too, didn't it?
Yeah, we had to promise John that the car would never be hot rodded and be kept in its pristine original condition.
To my left there we've got a Woody. It's a wagon. It's a Monterey. What's going on there, Paul?
Well, we brought it now about 7 years ago, before we actually had the diner. It's out of Pennsylvania. It's got 40-odd thousand miles. Again, unrestored, original car.
In a time when they could build a car like that and get away with the resources they used, lots of trim, timber work, a bizarre design, but it was just so period correct. It's what they ran with.
Well, of course, they evolved from the buggy. In the old days, if you went to Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, got off the train, you picked up by the buckboard or the Cobb & Co. Wells Fargo type coach. They would take you up to the guest house. Yeah. So when cars come along, and I think the first Woodies were like 20s, they thought, well, they wanted to keep that theme. So when you did your retreat, your weekend away, you come out of Chicago, New York, Washington, whatever, on the spur, you'd pull up at White Sulphur Springs. The old Woody would come. They were a multi-seat car. The seats would fold down so you could put the luggage where you'd go up to the resort. That's the story. That's how Woodies began.
Didn't have to worry about rust. It was just termites.
Yeah, well, up there you probably worried about a bit of bear too, I think.
Absolutely. Nothing. Oof, yeah, imagine that, running through the forest with a bear behind. Oh, Paul, look at this big girl.
It is a big car. Of course, the thing that made Junior Johnson famous in the NASCAR world, big block 390 Galaxy.
Yeah, when I see this style Ford and I just think Thunderbolt.
Yeah, well, they are a big car, but they weren't a heavy car. And, of course, this is not, unfortunately, not the race spec car because it'd be worth a lot of money, but it came out of Atlanta, Georgia. A friend of mine knew the chap, and he's owned it since the 60s. He's the second owner of it. It's a very, very, very straight car, and one I actually brought to sell. I ended up buying a couple out of this guy's collection, and I think I fell in love with it because it's just such a nice, straight car. and they certainly jump into life, the big blocks, that's for sure.
Certainly do. And the interior is just gorgeous as well, mate. A lot of red.
A lot of red, yeah. It's a red car, and again, it's an unrestored car, which is the thing I love about it. You know, it's an original car, so a very usable car too.
Yeah. And to be seen a million miles away, I mean, the stove element tail lights, synonymous with Ford. They went with those round tail lights. They stuck with those for years, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think that the 50s and the 60s and the 70s was very, very big for Ford as far as developing muscle cars, big cars. They really got, Henry Ford II got right into racing with the Monte Carlo Rally, of course, the GT40, winning Le Mans and all that sort of stuff, and Shelby. So, yeah, it was a big time for Ford.
They used to run the rails underneath. They'd make gases out of them too. I mean, they made 10-second quarter-mile cars out of them too.
Well, and the funny thing, that they actually built these things to do that. So Ford had a racing development department that they were out to win everything they could. So Henry Ford II, he was out there.
Bring tears to your eyes, this joint, mate. How do you go home at night?
I don't. I sleep in the car, so...
Don't blame you. When it comes to classic vehicle and home and contents insurance, you can't go past Shannons. Why not pick up the phone and give them a call for a quote on 134646 or visit Shannons online at shannons.com.au.
And show me what I wish was free.
I set the camera up and I left 5 minutes ago and walked around the car to get back to Paul, and that's how long it took. What a big car. Big Imperial. These are incredible things, these are.
Well, it's such a large car. I mean, again, this is out of Atlanta. Same guy. We ended up buying 3 cars off this guy. There's also a big block Dodge Challenger, which isn't here. I like the car. A mate of mine, Brett Yulden, which races in TCM, all we did was give it a cut and polish. A little bit of upholstery repair. Again, the guy's owned it forever. And we brought it to sell, thing to be a novelty thing to sell. And you fall in love with the damn things. I mean, it is such a good thing.
I want this car. I mean, I mean, Paul, I might not be in a position right now to buy this, but when the time comes, I'd like the first right of refusal.
Oh, absolutely, Fletch. It's all yours. And it's funny that because we've done a lot of business in Atlanta over the years with the transport company, and we know a lot of people there and a lot of enthusiasts there. And you see these cars out on the weekend, as we do in Melbourne or Sydney, wherever you're from. And to have such 2 fantastic examples out of the one town that not only look good, but are absolutely great drivers. So good thing.
We've got what's lurking under the hood.
It's a big block Hemi. It's a very, very big engine. It's about the size of a V6 GM, I think. But it's again
a diesel, right?
Diesel, yeah. It's only got 70,000 miles on it from new, and again, an unrestored car. That's the thing I love about it, yeah.
Incredible in terms of interior and the way the seats are chiselled and just the design of these things. And like you say, these are executive motor cars that used to take one guy to work. Incredible times. All right, we move on through. We have a Falcon Sprint here hosting a 289. It's in race trim. These were gun machines. These really, really do well in terms of racing. We've got a very lightweight car here, powerful engine up front. Good ratio for get up and go. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, well, they built it to win the Monte Carlo Rally, and remember the rally was on handicap, made the Mini Coopers famous. The Sprint actually really won it on stage times, but on handicap, the Mini won it. This car is from Tasmania, built by Doug Shepherd over a long period, and it's really a hot rod car than a race car. It's meticulous. I've only had the car for about a year, and it's a bit of a bucket list thing. We're trying to take it to Goodwood in England. We've put an entry in, but we don't know if it'll get accepted, so if it does, we will race the car at Goodwood. If not, I think we'll just sit there and let people look at it.
Mate, I'll be setting a cat amongst the pigeons over there if it does make it.
I think so. It's a right-hand drive Sprint. It is a lightweight car, all the lightweight panels as it was in '64.
Time now for a 1960 DB4 Aston Martin. Wow, what a piece of machinery this is, Paul.
Well, again, it tells a story. The car was brought in England, and I believe it had a fender bender in England, and came to Australia, got repaired, sold to the one and only king of rock and roll, Billy Thorpe.
Top of the range. I mean, top-notch Aston Martin. We're talking 5-star here, aren't we?
Yeah, look, there are limited numbers built. This is a 1960 car. It's one of the first DB4s ever built by its chassis number. Steering to it, because it was always one of the problems with these cars. They were a heavy car to park. The power steering unit's up under the dash, so you can't see it. And
You wouldn't want a fuse blowing on that.
oh no, they don't actually, because it doesn't really change the ratio. So if it goes out, it's just a still normal steering. Yeah. But it's a nice car. You see it sitting here at the front door. It just went round to the Torquay Car Show the other day, it's just again, it's driving history, and it talks to you. If you read Billy Thorpe's story, oh, it'll talk to you.
Every car tells a story. It's just so magnificent. I mean, you know, I look at Paul on my right and I look to my left, and he's we've got a side banger here sitting here in the Ford. What's how long's today's show? What's going on with this one here, Paul? Tell us about this Ford.
Well, it's a 32. We brought the car many years ago. It had a glass body on it. The car at the time I was building one anyhow. I already owned the body, and then when I come across this car, brought it for the right price, took the glass body off, put this body on. It's got a 53 Merc in it, offie heads, triples, headers, cam, auto, Hallobrand quick change. It's got the vented brakes on it. So it's a real retro rod of its time.
I got a comment on the brakes. They're huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing to make them go, you also got to make them stop. So, and the rodders out of the 40s and 50s and 60s really knew how to get these things to handle, how to get them to stop, and it's a pretty good example of a good 32.
Mate, when I see brakes that size and tyres that wide, I just think of just massive lockups.
Well, no, not really. I mean, because these things are so well balanced, the engine sits way behind the front beam. They're very well balanced and a good race car.
Absolutely awesome, mate. Now, we've got the 40 Coupe behind us here. You better give us a quick rundown on what's going on there with this car.
Well, of course, as was talked before, we had the sedan we've had for nearly 35 years. It's got twins, headers, cam, single leaf, springs. Again, Brett polished the car for us. He's just so good at that sort of stuff. We did brakes on it, belts, hoses, hadn't been used for a while. And I've used that for the last 2 months over Christmas, so I've only just backed it in here, actually.
Mate, what do we say, eh? Look, it'll just whet your appetite as to what's here at Paul's Diner. And I hope it might have sparked a bit of enthusiasm to get out in your classic cars, on your classic bikes, and go to more diners. I think it's part of our fraternity. It's what we do on weekends. It's a way to let our hair down. Can't get a better feel, I don't believe.
No, and I think it's the fellowship of people who love everything automotive that find a place, go with your mates, take your best friend, your wife as a rule. And I've got to say, I could not have done this without Christine. Christine, believe it or not, is a bigger petrol head than me. Yeah. She's a fantastic navigator, as our Targa record shows, and she is just or more enthusiastic about this place than what I am. So that makes the ride a lot easier, I can tell you that.
Good on you, Paul. Thank you so much for having me here, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed today's show. Like I said, it's just a basic draw card on what you've got here. Just an example of what's out there. I mean, Great Ocean Road, here we go, bang. You know, like you can drive past these places and you can see, you know, a shop front appearance. You've got to come inside, you've got to look around, you've got to discover, don't you?
Thanks, Fletch, yeah. And come and enjoy the experience. And I hope I'm here so I can show some people around.
Good on you, mate. You're a great guy. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Fletch. All the best. Cheers, mate.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode on Classic Restos. Bit of diner, some classic cars, bit of lifestyle. I'm sure you'll agree it's a pretty cool way to spend a weekend coming to a place like this. Now, as I've said earlier in the show, classicrestos.com.au, that's the website that you need for the DVD boxed sets of the show and the Classic Restos merchandise as well, travelling Route 66, and of course how my major sponsors are waiting to help you as well. Now, until next week, no matter where you're watching the show from, as I always say, please ride and drive safe at all times. I'm Fletch. Thank you for watching.
Don't forget to like Classic Restos on Facebook. Facebook.com/Classic Restos TV. And episodes can be seen at shannons.com.au. Well, there goes another Classic Restos. Thanks for riding along with me. For DVD sets and to contact the major sponsors, go to classicrestos.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, Main Lube Lubricants, and your local Repco store.